Right, coronavirus update number 4. I've sort of left it for a few days because things are just increasing so fast that you can't, there's no point updating it unless there's a big gap. I can't remember how many deaths there were or cases there were last time, but I'm not even going to be bothered saying it because it's just basically, as we've seen all the graphs on the television, just going like that. More and more each day, not straight line, 50, 50, 50, like that. It's going up fast. That tells me that it's spreading, obviously. It's obviously spreading. So let's just look at now what Boris is doing. He said, oh, doesn't matter, we're all going to lose loved ones. It doesn't really matter as long as the economy stays on track. Don't bother doing much, just wash your hands. What the hell is he on about? Everyone else who's shut down, China, Italy and all that, this has gone like that. So Boris was going to go. So, surely you should follow the, he's ignoring the signs from the other countries. I find it unbelievable. So let's see why he's done this and not just shut the place down. Number one, I've been pointed this out by a few other of our members. I can't say members because we're just associates. Yeah, Italy and China, they've all shut down. 60% he thinks of us are going to catch it if he doesn't do anything. We've worked out there's probably 633,000 people are going to die with his current reckoning. So everyone who loses a granddad or grandmother is obviously going to be looking out. This is going to be worse than Tony Blair or Ian Duncan Smith killing people. So, yeah, now why is he doing this? Right, let's have a look. Pensions. More people die, less people taking their money, the pensions. Even though they've paid into it all their life, the government still thinks it's a benefit. So that is going to be, obviously, a great advantage to the government. Less old people, less money going out of the pension system, which is always under pressure anyway because they keep it at the absolute barest minimum. Right, NHS. Now the NHS, obviously there's a lot of old people every year go there, and this is going to be cut down dramatically with, million old people, 500,000 old people even. That is going to benefit greatly from the death of old people. Housing, yes. A lot of old people taking up houses and council houses, especially. That's all going to be released as they die off. Great advantage. So yeah. Boris is rubbing his hands. These Cobra meetings, has this been brought up? I bet you it has. Resources, well that's just obvious, Less people there are to buy stuff, the more resources there are for other people. Okay, the economy suffers a bit because there's no money, but they've got it all. Anyway, so, so it just beggars belief. Schools should be shut down. Colleges, all those places, that should have gone ages ago. We should only be going out if it's something really badly needed. Otherwise, get the supermarkets to deliver. Now, you can see I've got a cold, and so have the two kids. There's 5 of us here. By here I mean Wales, our Wales house. And so basically, you know, what do we do? Do we stop? I've just picked up mail out of the letterbox. You know, how far do you go? Is the question. Then there's all the people, the other end of the spectrum. There's all these people saying, oh no, don't worry, you probably won't even know you've got it. Well, are you going to risk that? Now, let's go back to China. China have obviously made a huge mistake in not recognising this inability, trying to suppress it, and then acting weeks later. But when they did act, this suddenly went, and took a dive, serious dive, to the point where there's only a few deaths. Italy doing the same. Now in England, Boris says business as usual, just wash your hands. There are all the sporting events, you know, all the major events where people are going to get together, they've cancelled them themselves. But, you know, do we send the kids to school on Monday? I don't know. You know, my mother is 86. What if it goes around the school and the kids bring it back? Me and my wife have both got slight asthma. And I mean, every time I get a cold, I have trouble breathing. So I don't know what problem this is going to have. So yeah, and I expect there's quite a few other families in our, you know, having the same problem. In Italy, the schools have shut, and they say that if it's still shut in so many weeks' time, they're going to get everybody top marks. Now they're, you know, they've got the right idea there. It's just ridiculous. What we're doing here. Anything else on my sheet? Yeah, the other thing is, Boris is saying 60% of us get it, we'll get a herd immunity. Now, I'd much prefer to get the thing knocked on the head completely, although some people say it's impossible. If you shut the schools and get everyone to have deliveries, then this is all going to be cut. Now, he's saying, like that, and then it'll come down slowly. Meanwhile, here's the NHS. All these people won't have a ventilator. If indeed these people do. There just isn't that many ventilators. So there's going to be a lot of deaths in the hospital itself. And we know that the NHS is under absolute, you know, secondary deaths. They've cancelled loads of operations. You know, if they do what everyone else has done, they won't have to do that. What happens is, what he's saying is that if we can iron out the bump below the NHS level, and then it comes down. A herd immunity, they're calling it. Now, then they're saying we won't get it again. We'll all be immune. Can't see that happening. You know, it's got to be stamped out, basically. Now, with this, with the one where they say that this happens, like in Italy, that comes down. Now, they think it's going to come back again and again. But that's still below the NHS level. NHS point of no return. So, what do you think of that? You know, it might come back a few times. But at least, you know, the NHS can cope because we've isolated everybody. You know, I think they're doing nothing strategy. This week, something's got to change badly. This is Saturday. Let's see what happens. Now, I'm suggesting, you know, that they're even thinking about gatherings over why they've chosen 500 is so they won't have to shut so many schools. You know, some schools have got 1,000 in, but most of them haven't got near 500. So, you know, I really don't know what the government are doing here. And I'm not the only one. If you look on the other channels, including all the news channels, everyone's wondering why. Yeah, it's the most obvious thing to do. And if you look at my UFO headed ones, Project X UFO, you'll see the one that covers health says about locking down for a month every year, which will destroy all the airborne diseases and transmitting diseases. Because if they've got nothing to transmit to, they just never survive. If you do that every year, it'll get less and less, including the flu. The flu kills 25,000 people, you know, and they're saying, oh, it's just like the flu. Well, it's not. It's 1,000 times more contagious, even than SARS and all the other ones that have come before that. Now, imagine this. There's another thing come up. Somebody said, oh, as soon as they put 5G in Wuhan, the virus came. Now, you might think, oh, that's impossible. But when you think about transmitting radio signals damages genes, or has the, you know, it's possible that it'll damage genes. Now, something as small as an animal or whatever, I mean, I know genetic material is all the same length, it's just different numbers for different species. Not necessarily the same length, but the same size. Now, if you imagine shooting some of those molecules in that DNA chain with 5G, is it going to change something? In other words, randomly, it might just change something that transfers it into another organism, i.e. from SARS to this one, COVID-19. You know, they've got to look into that too. You know, you could probably bomb genes with every type of radio signal and nothing will happen. But as soon as you turn your back, one item might be damaged just because of reflections and crossing signals. Where a signal crosses, you'll get double the amount of power bouncing off walls and things. So, you know, don't rule out the 5G thing. That's what I'm saying. Now, the other thing I've got to, this is my personal thing, nothing to do with what anyone said here. Yeah, Boris is saying, loved ones will die. What? Loved ones will die, he's saying. Basically because he's not shutting the place down. He wants everyone to catch it. Yeah, it's just unbelievable. Anyway, my thing was China. Now, I don't know who the chap is in charge over there, and I don't care, but what he said is he's actually blamed America for this virus. What? Have they manufactured it and then sent someone to the market to dump it? You know, I'm sure they'd pick lots of other places. I know that the middle of China would be a good place to start an experiment. But on the other hand, you know, 10 years ago, they decided that there's too many of us. Not enough, there's too many people to sustain life on the Earth, on the planet. So, who would take the lead in that? You know, who could be bought to create a virus to start this off? And the Chinese are pretty obvious, you know. I don't think the likes of Rothschild, the people who have said we're going to have to do something about the amount of people on the earth, have been the elite mainly. Rothschild, I don't know about Soros, but certainly somebody overheard a conversation at a meeting they had where he was saying, yeah, we're going to have to, is there anything we can do? Now, planting a virus, they can't be blamed for that. They can pay somebody in the lab in Wuhan to say, just nip down to the market and dump this. Yeah, here's 2 million quid. What's he going to say? No. You know. And then they just sit back and watch. The blame is not anywhere near them at all. You know. By the way, just in case they're watching, I'm the spokesman for Project X, so you'll only ever see me in these videos. There's another person, a numbered person, down the line who is just about up to speed on everything I know. Because I'm supposed to know everything about this organisation, and I'm supposed to be the only one that does. The rest of it's cellular. He is ready to take my place should anything happen to me. Now I'm 60 and I don't really care what anyone thinks or what anyone says or what happens to me now, really. All the kids are set up with insurance and everything, so I'm ready. So if somebody is going to try and blame me for all this, and what I say on YouTube, think again, because I'll just be replaced. And there's 2 other people, potential people, who will take their place. So you're just breaking bits off a biscuit each time, and the biscuit grows again. So don't expect to bump me off. For instance, the Chinese premier, you know, he'll send his henchmen and his thugs anywhere in the world to stop people talking about him. So, you know, they obviously think that we're far inferior to them. Blaming America? Who's going to believe that? You know, if America was anything to do with it, again, it will be population reduction. They've got no beef with China at all. You know, and it's definitely getting worse. And at the rate we're going, and you know, it's great for industry, because industry relies on people buying stuff to keep going. It's not like our manufacturing on the UFO thing, where if there's nothing to manufacture, everything goes into mothballs automatically after the last item was made. So you don't get expenses, you don't get rates, you don't get rents. You know, everything's bought. Well, there's nothing bought because there's no money, basically. That's how Project X works. So, that's why we're not bothered if you don't subscribe. I wouldn't if I was you, just in case you get targeted. So, okay, somebody's put this stupid sign here. Subscribe to YouTube, but I haven't put it up because we're not bothered, really. We'll just keep... and anyway, most of these YouTube videos are for Project X personnel. It's just that the ones that are for public, we've put on the public. We've pressed the button that says public box. So there's your number 4 update. It's probably going to be out of date in about 10 minutes. But yeah, there certainly seems to be a lot more deaths, a lot more people catching it. You know, the government seems to only be bothered about money coming in and business. They're not bothered about us. They haven't been for a long time now. And it's not because they've chosen that path, it's just the way the mechanism in Parliament works. It's not necessarily, you know, we're kept on the verge of rioting the whole time. You know, there is no... The only nice time we had was in the 70s, where everyone had disposable income. They had a car, they had a house that was theirs, 2 kids. There was no immigration or anything messing things up. Now you have to keep your daughter well and truly locked up now. So, yeah, there you go. That's it for the time being, and thank you very much.